You are now listening to Fighting for Your Life podcast. I am your host, Miguel Ramirez. On today's episode, we have a Streetbeefs West Coast fighter, branch leader, and leader of the Full Tank fight team, Martin Tiny Tank Rubio. Welcome to the show, Tank.
Hey, what's up, man? What's up? Good to be here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing it. I'm glad we were able to get this thing done. Happy Easter, like I said before. Yeah.
Happy Easter, man.
Yeah. So, we're first of all, before we jump into it, where can people follow you? What's the best place that they can do that?
Streetbeefs West Coast on both Instagram and YouTube. That's where all the fights and the reels and all that are posted. But my personal content, my workouts and all that are on Tiny Tank _ on Instagram.
Okay. All right. Cool. So like we were talking about earlier, we just kind of wanted to get into your history, your story, how you kind of got into fighting and martial arts and this whole street beefs thing. As a kid growing up, did you have any experience with fighting? Was there any fighting in your house, like family members or karate classes, cartoons, anything like that inspired you?
Cartoons for sure.
Yeah. Ninja Turtles, like all of us.
Heck yeah. Ninja Turtles, DBZ.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, DBZ for way more DBZ than anything else. But
yeah.
I did a little bit of Taekwondo when I was super young.
Okay.
For a few years, but I think I walked into a boxing gym once when I was maybe 9 or 10 with my dad.
Okay.
And I was like, nah, I don't know why. I don't remember why I didn't stick to it, but
yeah. So what was the Taekwondo classes? Was it just like a friend signed up and you kind of went with them, or like how did you end up at that?
No, I don't remember. I think it was just something that we would pass by a lot.
Okay.
And we just decided to go in. Oh yeah, you know what? We used to buy pan dulce bread on the right next door to where they taught.
Yeah.
I decided to just go in there and
give it a shot, check it out.
I stuck with it for a little while. Yeah.
Dude, and I think like you watch Ninja Turtles and Ninja movies and Dragon Ball Z and all that stuff as a kid. Like I think every boy I think wanted to be like a ninja at some point, or something. Dude, right?
I was super into like fighting and stuff with the homies. We would just mess around and make whole ass stories of, when we were hanging out, it was just like because of fighting.
Right.
But
did you get into much fights as a kid growing up?
Yeah. I did actually.
Yeah, scrapping with your friends.
Elementary school, middle school, high school, all that, all throughout. Got into some fights, but
yeah. Okay. So aside from Taekwondo, did you do any other like formal training in martial arts or boxing or anything like that?
No, that's it.
Okay, so when was that was just a couple of years, right?
The Taekwondo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a few years, 2, 3, maybe even 4 years. I don't know. I remember doing some tournaments and stuff like that.
Okay.
We'd go to California, and then here in Vegas, they would have them at casinos and shit.
Okay.
So we'd do that.
Nice. So have you always been into fighting, like UFC and boxing? Like you followed it as you grew up and everything?
Man, not really. I always liked fighting, but I didn't. I guess I didn't have somebody that watched it too much or did it to where, especially when I was really young, I didn't know where to follow it, or I didn't know about like live events, live fights that were happening. So it's not like I was waiting for the next big fight and to watch it. Yeah, but I always liked fighting in itself. Like I did like that.
Yeah, it's almost like if you had somebody like to share the interest with, and you guys can kind of explore it together, then you might have got a little more into it or whatever.
And most of my really close group of friends, none of them were interested in it. They were interested in anime and stuff like that a ton, which is as far as the fighting part.
That's the extent of
their
it.
Life. Yeah, for them.
Yeah.
And for me, I was really interested in
it's like I want to do this stuff. I want to punch somebody.
Yeah, exactly. And it ended up getting me into fights instead of, if I knew that I could go into, especially like boxing, because that kind of that would have really drew me in and had somewhere to direct that.
Damn, that's a great point. I mean, for like kids and sports and that sort of thing. You have kids?
No, I don't, bro.
No? Okay. Yeah, I have 2 kids. I have them in jiu-jitsu and yeah, boxing is something that I did a little bit of boxing as a kid for a couple years. And I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm
it
definitely
definitely
gonna
helps.
do that, man. I'm definitely gonna do that when I have kids, is get them into something like that. And you know what I wish I would have done is like wrestling in high school and
Yeah,
or something like that.
that's another
Because
one. Yep.
yeah, I remember this moment. Me and a friend of mine, we're the same height, and we always were lifting together, and we did football together, and we were running bleachers in class during one of our classes or break or something. And I think it was a wrestling coach. He saw us. He's like, "Hey, you guys wrestle?" And we're both like, "No, we play football." And he's like, "You guys are in the wrong sport, man."
Yeah.
And I was like, "What's that guy talking about? I don't know what wrestling was."
Yeah.
Like, I wish I would have taken that up.
You know what? And I remember being in high school too, and I got into something with like I used to play football too, and I got into
Yeah,
this beef like with this wrestler, and it was just like I guess at the time football just seemed like so much more popular. Like it's just the thing that people did.
yeah,
Like you played basketball, you played football, you played baseball. Wrestling isn't
yeah.
looked at as like one of these big sports, but when it comes to like something that's going to be beneficial for your life. I mean, you get these dudes that
Big
are
time.
wrestlers. There's something that's a little different. Like their motor that they have is just a little different than most other
Yeah,
people.
friends now, friends now that I knew back then that we weren't like it wasn't my close group of friends, but I knew they wrestled,
Yeah,
and now as adults, I'm like they're like super,
go
grimy
getters.
what they
Yeah,
do, and yeah, man, I'm like it's one thing they all have in common is these motherfuckers wrestle.
that's crazy.
So
Yeah, it does seem to
yeah,
have that effect on people when they start like in junior high, high school, stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah. So when did how did you get back into fighting? Like was it Street Beefs that brought you back into fighting?
Um, yeah. So all throughout like high school and stuff, like I would even walk around with like gloves in my backpack, and I
Okay.
never had any class or anything like that. But we would play football at parks, and I'd have my gloves just in case anybody wanted to
Wanted a
throw
box?
down. Yeah, and then I have videos, man, from like I'm not sure if I still personally have them, but I know my friends have posted them on YouTube and stuff.
Damn, that's
But
crazy.
at a point, we had like a homie's backyard, and in the backyard, he had like a storage thing, I guess, and we moved all of the stuff out, padded it up, and we used to fight back there.
Damn.
And so when I finally saw Street Beefs on YouTube, I'm like, this is pretty much what we're doing. This is pretty much what I like doing. So
Right, right.
yeah, yeah, that's what got me back into actually like surrounding myself or like connecting with people that fight.
Okay, dude, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, I did that as a little kid. We used to get together and fight with because my dad was a fighter, so he had a bag full of gloves, and we used to just kind
Oh,
of get
okay.
together and start fighting. But yeah, like I mean, once you start, that was when I was really little. Once you start getting a little bit older and you start hitting a little harder, it's different, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's awesome. And so how long were you guys like fighting in your backyard or in your friend's backyard before you guys found Street Beefs?
So that was still in high school. That was still in
Okay.
high school. And I think it was a few years after that I found Street Beefs because I graduated in 2010,
Okay.
and I think I started watching Street Beefs maybe like 2014
Okay.
or 15 even, like quite a bit after that.
Right. So was there Street Beefs West Coast when you started?
No, no, no. So there was no other branches. It was just Street Beefs back out in Virginia. I got into the Facebook group, and I would be on there all the time. I'm like, I found my people, and I'd
Yeah.
be posting, I'd be sharing my workouts and talking to Scarface a lot. And then this one day, like years after that, maybe like 2 years after that, he made a post saying that he was looking for somebody to make the merch, the
Okay.
Street Beefs logos and stuff like that. And I didn't know anything about fucking merch or
Yeah.
shirts or anything. But I commented, I was like, hey man, like I could take care of that for you. And yeah, so we started talking, and I actually made the Street Beefs design with the Cobra and the Street Beef sign.
Oh, so you
And
designed that?
yeah, the newer one, not the original one that they have.
Yeah, yeah.
The
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 one with the
Cobra, all
Cobra.
that, that's their design. But there's one that's like seen everywhere now with the block letters,
Okay.
and it has like the white outline.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one, and we made a bunch of those shirts, and those things are everywhere. But after that, uh, he had expressed some interest to come out to the West Coast to just have an event. He had been saying it for a while, I want to go out there and hold some fights. So I got together with him. I was like, hey man, like I want to fight. I signed up, and it took a few times for him to actually get out here, but he came out to California City,
Okay.
which is a few hours from me. And yeah, I drove out there and fought. I fought Bushido Zed that day.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then and I had already started talking to Face about wanting to do a branch. So after that, um, I convinced him to come out to Vegas and let me host like a little tiny event at a friend's backyard. And I
Yeah.
think we had like 8 fights that day. And from there, he's like, oh, okay, I think like I like how you ran that, how you got everyone together,
Okay. Was that
and
the
yeah.
one where you were sparring Kakarot?
No, no, no. So that was actually SB West Coast one. That was the first ever Streetbeefs. That was like the official one, That
Okay.
the one in my friend's backyard was like a little trial, I would say,
Okay.
just
Okay.
to see that we can actually get people together
Yeah, cuz
and
that
and run them.
that's what yeah, I saw the fight with Bushido. I went like on a tiny tank marathon yesterday. Yeah,
Tight.
yeah. But yeah, I saw the fight with Bushido Zed, and then I saw the one with Kakarot, and it seemed like at first cuz it just kind of started,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't know if they're like sparring, and then then you start watching, you're like, oh no, they're not sparring, and if they're sparring, they're going hard, but it didn't
Yeah.
seem like.
So we were sparring. We were
Were
sparring,
you
but it was a
okay?
little.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And there was actually the event was actually being ran, and they were fighting where the hay bales were off to the
Okay.
side a bit. But me and him had been talking for quite a bit in the Street Beast West Coast group, and we had been wanting to spar each other for a while, man. We're like the same height almost,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's super good. So like we had been wanting to spar. So we took that time a little bit away from while a fight was happening, and we got a little bit of sparring in.
Yeah, I saw he was trying to catch you with that Superman punch.
Yeah, yeah. His
Yeah, yeah.
sparring, I mean, his striking is like super unorthodox for boxing. I mean, he does MMA, so
Yeah. No, that was cool. Yeah, so one thing I wanted to ask you, because I know I think when I first started watching Street Beefs, I think I started watching the original videos from Virginia, from the OG yard, right? I think that's the one.
yeah,
And then little by little I started seeing like the ones in the desert, and I'm like, something different's going on here now. Like they're
yeah,
they're expanding or whatever. And then I ended up finding that Tommy G video.
yeah,
And then I like watching that video, I think in there he mentions that they're in Arizona, and I'm like, okay, well that's like right around me. So I started
hmm,
like tapping in with some of the guys here. And I had no idea like exactly how these like the Street Beefs branches work. So like you like when I first got introduced to Street Beefs West Coast, like now I'm thinking, all right, well they got the Street Beefs on the East Coast, and now they got one on the West Coast. And I meet
hmm,
Weddle out here in Arizona, and I'm thinking, all right, well he's the Street Beefs West Coast dude. And then I start finding out little by little, I was like, there's a bunch of dudes like around in
hmm,
different places, So
yeah.
how is it? How does Street Beefs West Coast work? Like being
So
a
I
branch
think that
leader and
that's
all that.
that's unique to Street Beast West Coast,
Okay.
because the OG yard they have Scarface, and he's the main guy there. For Street Beef Scrapyard, there's a Fire Chicken, which is Steve, and he's the only guy there.
Where's that at?
For us, that's in up in Washington.
Okay. That's the
Yeah, up in
scrapyard.
Washington. Yeah, that's the scrapyard. And for Street Beast West Coast, since the beginning, it started with two of us. Me and Bushido. We're
Okay.
the branch leaders. We're the ones that that got the events going. We were the ones that were getting the venues at the beginning.
The first
Um,
West Coast event.
yeah,
Damn.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like we had our first one out in San Bernardino. That's where the hay bales were. That's where I sparred Kakarot.
Okay.
And then I brought it back to Vegas, and like it was crazy, man. It was back. I was finding out how to build a cage, going to Home Depot, getting stuff with the help of the Street Beast West Coast group, man. We've been dialed in a really strong communities from the get go.
Yeah, yeah.
And our first cage, over here was a sandbox, and that was like in the middle of the hood. You know, we would fill up the street on event days, and
Yeah.
that lasted for a while until they told us we couldn't do it there anymore. And then we had a few times before we got kicked out of California, we had at the farm at Barefoot Farmers place, and he had built two sick ass cages, bro, like
Damn.
really really cool cages. And and that was back when the OG yard wasn't even having like a like I guess official, you know, cages. So they told us we couldn't do that. So
Okay.
we stopped that. Then we came back to Vegas, and that's when we started doing the smoke ranch, which is at Free Smoke's place. So, and
Okay.
then that's how we started extending, you know, the faces of Street Beast West Coast, because now we have the Smoke Ranch, which is Free Smoke spot, and he, you know, he hosts that venue there.
Okay.
And then there were so many guys from Arizona that would come out to the events, and they wanted their own thing, and we were so close with Weddle, and he was always involved in a lot of the talks of how we can better Street Beast West Coast. That
Yeah.
we're like, man, if you can, or he's the one that came to us, you know, like I can make something here at my place. And we're like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, you know, like we're about bringing this to more fighters, and I don't want to just hog that here and have it around me and that
Yeah.
no, you guys got to, you know, so if he could do that and he could start something there, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, like
Bro,
have the hot box.
yeah, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. No, like the from the first time that I went to the hot box and watching it in the Tommy G video, like
Mhm.
man, I'll say like every time that I have one of you guys on here or I'm hanging out with you guys, it's just like so different than what you would expect like looking from the outside. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's just completely
I do
different.
know what you mean, man.
It's like you would think that I mean, and you get people, I guess it's kind of like a jujitsu gym, but even a
Yeah.
jujitsu gym is more like sterilized. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
you got the lights outside, you got the sign, you know, you got the mats and all. Like you guys are fighting in people's backyards, but it still
Yeah.
has that same family vibe. You know what I mean? Like where you guys want the best for each other, and it's therapy for a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And that's one thing. And that's why I'm so happy with the people that ended up with the venues, you know, Free Smoke and Weddle, both of them.
Yeah.
They really understood the vibe and the feel of the event. So they were able to replicate, or I mean, just keep on doing that wherever we're at. So we get new people that are fighting for the first time at events, and we want to make sure everybody feels comfortable,
Yeah.
everybody feels welcome. We're not like staring each other down
Right. Right.
and like and trying to intimidate each other. I mean, we're gonna fight, but afterwards we're gonna hug it out and we're gonna go eat and do Street Beefs West Coast after parties, you know. So it
Yeah.
is a family vibe, you know.
Damn. I don't know if I can't remember who I was what I was watching. If it was it might have been Bushido Zed, either his podcast or one of the other ones or Samke. But somebody was talking about like in a jujitsu tournament, there's like tension, right? Like we're
Yeah.
gonna fight, but there's tension. At these backyard events, there isn't really like that much. There's less tension at these backyard events than there is at jujitsu tournaments. It's kind of weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so yeah, so I've heard that too from because especially from people like Wade. He's one of our fighters as well, and he's done fights, Muay Thai fights, and we have other guys that have done MMA fights, sanctioned events and stuff.
Yeah.
And they say that you know the lead up to the actual fight is so much more, you know, anxiety ridden. You know, you're just with your team.
Right.
You're not really talking or communicating with anybody outside of the people you came with.
Right.
And like with our events, you come to the event and immediately everybody comes to you and they're asking you like, oh, hey, where you coming from? Like,
Yeah.
do you know this person? And since we know each other from the group as well, you're like, oh, I recognize that guy.
Yeah.
He's fought before. This guy posts video, and you go say what's up to them, you know, and then all of a sudden you guys are talking to the
Yeah.
people they came with, and then everybody, you know, that and that's by design, you know. I mean, it happened that way since the beginning, but
Right.
now that people would post in the group like, oh, this is why I like event. It made me feel welcome and this and that. So every time we just try to go ahead
You
and
kind
do
of
that with newcomers.
right. Like you kind of noticed what was naturally happening, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, man, you know when I first got involved with Street Beef, so I sent Wedo a message, and I think we recorded the first interview that I did with him before I even went out to an event. So I didn't realize
Mm.
exactly what he did. Like I knew he fought a couple times and but I didn't really exactly know like what you guys do as branch managers and like you said, the family environment, like he's in there checking on fighters and welcoming them in
Yeah.
and weighing people in and doing all that stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool to see all that.
Yeah, it's dope, man.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I know that I know fighting for you is not just something that is like a hobby. It seems like it's a part of you. Like it's been a part of you. Like you say, you keep gloves. You kept gloves in your car, was it?
Yeah, my backpack.
In your
Everything.
backpack.
Yeah.
I remember when being
Yeah.
a kid, or actually when I was in the Air Force. I mean, I was still a kid. I was young. I used to keep a pair of cleats in my car. I was like, just in case somebody wanted to play football at any time. I was like, I got a
Yeah.
pair of cleats. We can do it. But that's kind of like you with the boxing gloves.
Hmm.
But yeah, so like what is it? I know you use fighting as more than just like a hobby. What is it that fighting means to you? Like how does it affect you in your life?
Mm, I mean, how does it? I mean, I just always enjoyed it, man. I just always enjoyed it. I like what fighting does to people. I have a lot of respect for fighters. That's just like my biggest interest, you know. Like I always wish that I would have taken on fighting myself like more seriously, like actually done it.
Yeah.
Um, how do you say, like formal training, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But since I didn't, now that I'm older and I'm not like drinking like I used to and stuff like that, I finally got into a gym and I'm trying to do that
Okay.
these days, you know, since I didn't when I should have.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Fighting just means a lot to me, man. I just like it.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, and it's something that like for me I keep getting drawn back to it no matter what. Like no matter what
Hmm.
happens in life, maybe you stray a little bit and then you come back to it eventually, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you recently started taking some or signed up for some boxing classes. Have you signed up for boxing at all before?
Yeah. So even, well, see, the thing is that I say now that I signed up because anything that I did in the past like decade was always super half-assed and like
Okay.
it would be a day or two and then I'd never go back and things like that. Because I was a super heavy drinker, bro, for like
Okay.
10 years probably. Like I would drink like an 18 pack a day pretty much.
Yeah.
And from wake up to go to sleep time,
Yeah.
I'd be sipping. So that's why I say that now I'm actually in a gym because I can string together more
Mm.
than a single day that I'm actually training.
Yeah.
But yeah, so recently I just got into, I think like a month and a half ago,
Okay.
into a boxing gym.
Yeah. Dude, so how long has it been since you stopped drinking?
600 days. Well, a little bit over 600 days. I just hit that 600 day mark a little bit, a couple of days ago.
Damn, congratulations, man. How do you
Thank you,
feel?
brother.
How do you feel like what the difference between before and now?
Everything huge, man. Like I've always been, like I've been talking about, I've always been into fighting. I've always been into working out when I
Yeah.
was younger, high school, even a little bit after high school. I would train my friends and I would always have weights and people would come work out with me. But then once I started drinking, all that, like everything else just went away. Like the fighting went away, the working out went away,
The
the being
consistency.
able to do anything physical went away.
Yeah.
So that's why even training and stuff wasn't enjoyable for me. Like I would do anything and start throwing up and stuff, man.
Right.
So now I can train. Now I can go to the gym and train and feel good about it and actually make that progress. Because
Yeah.
it was always just stunted as soon as like I would get a hangover and not do anything for a while. So now I can, make progress with it.
Yeah. So you were
Feels
fighting
feels way better.
before in Street Beefs West Coast. You were fighting before and you were still drinking and all that.
Oh heck yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Every single time anybody saw me like at events or fights, I was pretty much either drunk or hungover
Or
as fuck. When I
about
fought
to get drunk.
Bushido, yeah,
Yeah.
when I fought Bushido, I was drinking till like 2, 3 in the morning, and then
The
my
night before?
ride, yeah, the same night, yeah, that same
Oh
day, pretty
shit.
much so.
Yeah.
And then my ride came and got me, and we drove to California, and I fought like I was still kind of drunk.
Bro, that's insane. That is insane. That's
Yeah, and
crazy.
then my events, I would drink the morning of,
Wow.
um, yeah, all the time. It was
So,
pretty much,
I mean, if you look at your Instagram, tiny tank underscore on IG, definitely recommend you guys go check it out and check out the workouts because Tiny Tank's got some incredible workouts there.
thank
And
you.
it's like it's quick stuff that like I think a lot of them you post like after work, just get a bunch
Yeah,
of sets in like real quick before you're done, you know?
yeah, yeah.
Um, but what do you think changed? Like what was the difference between like because now it seems like you're on a path. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're on a mission. Like what happened? What's different?
So, I mean, the change that happened for me to stop drinking was a couple things, and it was like all at once. I ended up in the ER because of high blood pressure. I was huge. I couldn't fucking stay asleep, bro. Like I had really bad sleep apnea, and I would wake up like breathing all crazy. But it was
Wow.
it was mainly my high blood pressure. I had to go to the hospital, and then I tried stopping drinking cold turkey, and that messed me up, and I had to go right back like
Oh
a few
wow.
days after. But since then, it got me thinking. I'm like, dude, what am I putting, the people that I care about through? My younger sister just moved back out here to Vegas, and I'm just showing her this. She probably has this image of me, of who I was when she was still living out here, and now she's getting to see this person that I don't want her to know.
Right.
So that's what really kept me on track, also, and then I have two younger brothers now that my parents adopted. They adopted two little kids, and I'm like, I definitely don't want them, you know, seeing this person as their older brother. This is who I want them to see, and I'm gonna work every day to do that. So now they actually can brag about their older brother to somebody, to the kids at school, and I always had an image of who I wanted to be, like a fighter, and I wanted to be super strong in this, but I really wasn't that.
Yeah.
I was just who I would tell people I was, or who I like kind of would sometimes work out, and I'm like, oh, I work out, so this is who I am. But now I really
You
do
are that
this
guy.
every day.
Yeah, it is you.
Yeah,
Dude, and that's can you talk a little bit about the difference in confidence? Cuz there has to be. There has to be
yeah.
a difference in confidence like
I think it's like real confidence and like fake confidence, because I would always carry myself also before, like if I was confident,
yeah,
but it was just like a front. Now I have something concrete behind it to actually back that up, and
right.
because back then it would be I would kind of try to put out that confidence, but I would just go right back to drinking, and that's why I think it that's also another reason I would drink. I would be like, I'm not really that,
Mm.
it's fake. So I would try to drown it with drinking. And
Uh
now it does build that confidence, and it just gets you through.
yeah, it's like that imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough, man, because in a way like I've had this feeling so much. But in a way like you have this vision of yourself in you, right? And I've
Hmm.
said it on here before, man, and I like whenever I get the chance, it's just like but I think that's just part of life is trying to make that vision that you have of yourself real.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that you can do these things, you can make them real. It's kind of funny. I mean, it sounds kind of sketchy, but like I was talking to my wife, like I'll tell her about like way back in the day with George St. Pierre. Like I remember when I was a kid watching him fight. I mean, I don't know. I was a young guy watching him fight, and when he was just like running, the UFC. And I was
Yeah.
just like, dude, every time he wins, like he's like super like respectful, even when he loses. You could see like he's disciplined. The dude is always like in shape, like he's ripped. And I was like, I know that I could look like that if I wanted to. But at that time, I was like 225. You know, I had just let go of everything. But in my head, I was like, I have this feeling like I just know that I could do it. And then it's just been, you know, little by little, you know, step by step. And that's the thing, just, you know, it takes a while, but it's worth it in the end, you know, because you look completely different than, you know, some of your first fights. I mean, it's just night and day.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, bro. I mean, I was 225 and I'm 5'3", so I'm super short.
Yeah.
At 225, I was fucking round, man.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So yeah, and then like like you said, the confidence, it's automatic, you know, when you go from 225 to getting shredded, you know. So yeah, what are you weighing now?
170.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah, 170 on my way to 155 is what I want to be at.
Okay. Damn, bro, that'd be insane. That's a hell of a story right there, just in itself.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, bro. Thank you.
Yeah. So are you training for anything right now?
Yeah. So Saturday I fight. Next Saturday I fight on the 26th.
Okay.
And then after that, I mean, I'll be fighting every month if I can. You know, if there's somebody at the events and needs to fight or whatever. But definitely fighting in August, which is an anniversary event.
Okay.
And probably a big fight that day.
Okay, that's cool. So how old are you right now?
33.
Okay. Yeah. So what is I mean, so you just started boxing at the boxing gym. What is your like what are your plans for the future? Like with street beefs, with fighting, boxing, like what do you see going on?
Just with fighting, just Street Beefs West Coast, man. I get asked sometimes like if I want to do some amateur fights and things like that, and I don't think so. As of now, I don't have like any interest in that. Like I want to just keep doing Street Beefs West Coast is what I like. But with my park sessions and things like that, and my community here, what I can affect and who I can get into working out, that's what I really want to do a lot of, you know. Like every Sunday I get to the park and I host strength and conditioning and a little bit of boxing drills and some sparring and stuff, but mostly just strength and conditioning, which is what I know the most of, you know.
Yeah. So that's I know that you got the full tank fight team, right?
Right here, brother.
There you go. The full tank fight team. Yeah. So and you guys I've seen like the videos that you guys post and get together for some sparring. Do you have any other fighters that are fighting at Street Beefs West Coast?
Yeah. So the Protestant.
Okay.
Right now he's 5-0. You know, he fought a bunch of good guys, you know, and he's gonna most likely go for the title. He has a fight on Saturday as well.
Okay.
Which is a title eliminator. We have his brother, Bloody Raps. He's also undefeated. We have Stickman. He has a title fight coming up also. We have Colossus, which is our heavyweight. We have Trini, which is our woman fighter. She hasn't fought yet, but she trains with us. We have Dyro. We have Jesse Drax, which is our Muay Thai fighter. So he throws down, man. He's fought a lot of big guys in Street Beefs West Coast. So yeah, we have El Bandido. That dude's had probably one of the toughest runs in Street Beefs West Coast, man. He gets some tough fights, but
damn, you got a hell of a team, man.
Dude, yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
All my people here in Vegas, man, and they all come and train on Sundays, bro.
Yeah, come and represent. Yeah, well, it was one of the videos, one of your fights that I was watching. I think it was like one of the East Coast, West Coast invasion fights or whatever. But it's always so cool to see. Like, I mean, you have that camaraderie even like within like you guys got your teams and stuff like that. Even though it's all love at the end of the day. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's super sick,
yeah. But yeah. So what is hold on a second. Let me see here. Yeah, so I had watched I had met up with Samke and Zetro. I watched back the fight that you guys had, and dude, that was a tough fight. That was an awesome fight. Dude, you're like, I mean, you were putting it on him, and he like I think in that one he was coming back with the boxing a little bit, and
Yeah,
dude, his boxing like he would just kind of stick and move out of the way, like you
dude,
would try
that
to
he's
corner
hands
him.
down a better boxer than me, bro.
Yeah,
That guy can box, man. And then he's like, he can box in both stances too.
yeah,
Yeah, like I came into that fight knowing that he's, way more technical than me. So I'm like, I'm just gonna push forward and just throw. And
yeah,
yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I do.
yeah, yeah. No, dude, it was impressive. I mean, like your boxing is good too. I mean, you have good head movement, and but your heart, bro, like there's just some times where like you get cracked and you're still, you're coming forward the entire time. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Yeah, that
Yeah.
that's your style. But yeah, that one, and also there was your fight with El Coyote. That
Yeah.
one's a good one too. But at the end of that fight, even like we were saying, like fighting is just something that you keep coming back to. Like that was a tough fight for you. I think he was kind of lighting you up a little bit with the body work. That was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
that was a tough one. But at the end, you kind of come back and you're like, after losing the fight, about putting yourself out there and challenging
Yeah.
yourself at the end of the day. Which is something that like all these guys that show up to these events, like there's got to be a winner, there's got to be a loser, and but at the end of the day, everybody stepping out there to go do their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. It's you really do give yourself an opportunity to check yourself and see who you are and test yourself. That's why I love Street Beefs West Coast too, because it ranges from people that are your average Joe, and just getting off the couch and want to see if they can fight, or they want to see if their,
That guy.
view of themselves,
Yeah.
yeah, is right, and maybe that sparks something in them to start training and do some good. And then there's people like El Coyote who has done amateur bouts before and who has like years of experience,
Yeah.
So there's like a full range of spectrum, so it's tight.
Yeah.
That fight was crazy, bro. That was probably the only fight that I was kind of nervous for beforehand,
Yeah.
because I know what El Coyote can do and how experienced he is. So that was cool. That was cool to do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was awesome. Also, your fight with the Maniac, I saw that one too.
Heck yeah.
But what do you think has been your toughest fight so far?
Toughest? Um, I don't know. I would say some of the toughest ones were probably, yeah, like maybe the Maniac fight was tough because I was still drinking back then, man. Like, I remember wanting to do that fight specifically, and it was a tournament style thing at the hot box.
Okay.
But like I had I had said I wanted to fight the Maniac, and it actually happened by chance. We both drew, and we ended up fighting.
Yeah.
But I stopped drinking for like a month for that fight. I was like serious, and I started like jogging and stuff. And then like 2 weeks before the fight, I don't know what, it just went like it always used to happen. I just started like drinking heavy again, man.
Yeah.
So going into that fight, I was already like, you know what? Like I feel like shit. I don't know what the heck, but I'm like, I'm gonna go fight. So drove out to Arizona and we threw down. But that was a tough fight, even though it was only a round.
Yeah.
Like I went in there, you know, still with that
That's
mental shit. Now all these fights now, even though they are tough, like physically and there's a lot to overcome, I don't have that voice saying that, oh, you've been drinking and stuff like that. So you're not even supposed to be fighting.
right. So yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you because I mean, obviously you're completely different now than you were when you first started fighting. And have you fought like since you've been making all these changes? Like, I mean, or you've been fighting kind of like all the way through, right?
Yeah. So no, I stopped for a while. I only fought, I think, once. Huh. Yeah, I think I only fought once or twice before I stopped drinking. Oh no, yeah, yeah, twice. Bushido and the Maniac, and then all those other fights have been recent. Like once I stopped,
Okay.
but yeah,
Yeah. So like, I'm I'm just saying, like, it's gonna be. I would imagine it's just completely different now going into a fight, knowing that you're not drinking, knowing that you're hitting the boxing gym, hitting the workouts after
Mm-hmm.
work. Like that's just a completely different, mental space to be in. What like how do you feel now going into a fight compared to before?
Just way better, bro. Like and now I don't know. It feels like I'm prepared, but not only prepared. It just feels like there's a future, like progress that I can be made. Now I can. It's not only that fight. Like I'll take that fight, and then I know I'm gonna be training and I'm gonna be better. And before I knew that that's who I was, and I wasn't ever gonna get any better than that anyway. So now these fights are just like a journey, you know. Now I can actually get better at the gym. Like I feel like I'm just starting with fighting, like the beginning.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy how that works. Like you're probably, I mean, you're at like probably the best point that you've ever been, feeling
Hmm.
like you're just getting started.
Just getting started, bro. Like I'm gonna learn how to box. You know, I'm gonna have the conditioning to be able to box how I want to box. I'm gonna put together the strength and all that and athleticism that I always had the knowledge to do, but now I'm like actually putting it into practice.
Yeah.
So beginning of the journey, watch me in a year or 2 years is gonna be I'm gonna be a good fighter.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, just like you said, I'm gonna learn how to box. Like that.
Yeah,
I mean, when you have it like that in your mind, there's no way that it doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
heck yeah.
it's a done deal. So
Right.
is there anybody that you are looking at maybe matching up with in the future?
A few, man. El Coyote again down the line, maybe if I stay at this weight class, but if not, I mean, my plan is to go to 155.
Okay.
So there's, Stat Lee, there's Punches, there's all those guys that are really good down in that weight class. BDW's been wanting to fight me for years, so we gotta get that fight out of the way. And then I don't know, maybe some East Coast, I mean, yeah, some OG yard guys
Okay.
later on.
Yeah, yeah. So have you traveled at all? Do you come? I mean, I know one of your
I've
fights
been at
was
the
out
hot
here,
box.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, the Maniac I fought at the hot box, but I haven't been out to the OG yard.
Okay. Yeah, I think was that the first fight at the hot box?
No, I think they had an event before that.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but that day we were the first fighter of the day
Okay.
that time. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because the pallets were looking pretty fresh still.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
Hmm.
yeah, no, and that's a awesome spot to be fighting too. Yeah, the hot box is cool.
It's
I
so
got to
cool.
get out to one of the Vegas events or somewhere else, when I get the chance.
Heck yeah, you definitely got to come out here, bro.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
super cool. Yeah.
but yeah, man. So anything going on in the future of Street Beefs West Coast out there in Vegas, or you guys you said you have an event? Is it next weekend?
Yeah, on the 26th,
And
Saturday.
the videos come out from everywhere, right? So you guys have Vegas, you guys have Arizona, and we had an event a few weeks ago out here, and the
Yeah,
videos have been coming out. I think they're still coming out.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
how do the Street
So we
Beefs?
just drop them by event. So all those that just happened at the hot box, all of those will be posted. And then once those are finished, the ones from this upcoming Saturday are gonna start getting uh, uploaded.
Okay, bro. Like there's sometimes like even I'll get a message on Instagram or somewhere where somebody will ask me, I'll be talking with one of you guys or I'll post a video with some of you guys, and they're like, how do you get involved? Like, how do you sign up for a fight or even if you want to go watch a fight, like, how do you even do
Yeah.
any of that stuff? How would
The
you?
Facebook group, man. The Facebook group is where it's all at. Streetbeefs West Coast on Facebook. That's where every month, like right after an event happens, I'll post a sign up post for the next one.
Okay.
And anybody that wants to fight, they'll just put their info down on there, and then I'll do the selections through through those picks, and then everybody's allowed a plus one. Recently, we've been allowing people to bring more people, and so all you got to do is know somebody or be in the Facebook group, and some people are coming by themselves, and you can just tag along and all that. We don't really open it to the public too much,
Yeah.
but it's not super airtight to where you can't hit up one of us and you know and come to an event.
Get to know somebody and figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Dude, I wanted to ask you about your Instagram, and we had mentioned it earlier on the podcast, like your workouts that like you
Yeah.
post a lot of workouts on Instagram. Um, where do you get like the inspiration for these workouts? Because there's a bunch of different stuff. Like you have like kettlebells. I see you doing pull-ups, you know, like it's
Yeah.
burpees, like all kinds of stuff.
Man, so I've been a fan or like super interested in just strength training my whole life. Like when I was really young and even like Taekwondo days, I remember this they had a little competition within our class in Taekwondo of who could do the most push-ups, squats, burpees in that hour class. And
Yeah.
I took home that trophy, man. So I've been like I've always loved, you know, physical conditioning and stuff like that. So
Like challenges like that.
and
Yeah.
yeah, in high school I got into lifting weights, but I would do all I knew was like bodybuilding training, so high reps, hypertrophy stuff. After high school, I got into like circuit training and I would do like tire tosses and shit like that, pull-ups and all like CrossFit style circuits.
Right. Right.
And then I got into strongman, and then now I just put everything together with the kettlebells. I
Yeah.
would do I'll do depending on the time that I have, I'll put together a workout that fits that, and then what I want to improve on, you know.
Yeah.
Kettlebells and in the gym, I like doing obviously longer workouts, and I've been trying to figure out how to put like strength and conditioning for fighting, you know, more fighting specific.
Okay.
And yeah, so I mean, I just mess around with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. No, yeah,
Yeah,
no, like you have some great stuff. Like I can't remember specifically, but I know on Instagram, like sometimes you'll put like, you know, do 10 of these, and a lot of times it's like three different exercise, do like 5 sets of
yeah.
these or do 10 sets of these or whatever,
Yeah, I like
depending on.
doing that because I have a lot of friends and people that follow me that are like, oh, I work and I don't really have time to go to the gym and
Right.
put a big chunk of my day into training. So I was like, hey, well, that's fine. Here, go ahead and set a timer for 10 minutes. At the start of every minute, hit 3 kettlebell snatches with each arm, drop down, do 5 burpees,
Yep.
and do a pull up and rest for the remainder of that minute and do it. You're gonna get a good workout. You're gonna get, you know, some strength gains and definitely get your heart working and your lungs working, a sweat going, which is
Yeah.
what's important, you know?
Dude, and it's almost like making it like a game. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of that's what works best for me too. You know, because when I started
Yeah.
seeing you posting stuff like that, and I'm like, dude, that's like very similar because in my head, like I'll just get an idea, and like I'll tell you one that I do. Like for me, one of my main things is just pull-ups. Like I'll do a lot of
Yeah.
pull-ups. And then recently I started doing like the L pull-ups where you bring your legs up,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I was like,
Oh
okay,
yeah, I seen you
I'm
do
like,
that.
these are hard. I was like, I'm gonna start. I want to
Mhm.
get good at these, so I'm gonna just keep practicing
Yeah.
that.
I love you said that, like making it into a game, and I'm like super into like leveling up your exercises, which is just progressive overload,
Right.
whether it be weights or it be reps on certain things. So the way I set up my workout log, like I always have 6 sets, and then I'll increase either the reps on them or the weight all across the sets as I go. And then if I get to the last set and I'm able to complete the amount of reps or the weight, you know, that was dedicated to that set, the next time I do that exact same workout, I'll just start on the second, you know, set weight or
A
set
little bit
rep. And then
heavier.
that way you can just progress
Yeah.
infinitely with that, man. So you can plug that in, that same concept to any exercise, any workout style that you want. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, that's what I try to turn it into a game. You know, I do this
yeah,
much of this many things, this many times a week, and, you know, just kind of keep
yeah,
it
hell yeah.
simple. But, is there anything that's like a main workout for you? Like that you just like got to do all the time? This is just part of the foundation.
Um,
Kettlebells or,
Yeah, I mean it switches for me a lot. For now, right now, it is kettlebells. Like I've been enjoying kettlebells a ton. Um, but it'll change. Like last week, I got into landmines with the barbell, and I
Okay.
had a blast with it. So I'm probably gonna get like super obsessed with that for a few months.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome because, over time you start doing different things, hitting different things, and seeing the effect on that it has on different stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know too much behind it, but I feel like if you're super um not stuck, but you
Like,
just do one form of
yeah.
movement over time, that it like it does, strengthen a lot in that particular movement, but it also weakens all the stuff that you're not doing in the, whatever plane of motion that you're not moving in.
Yeah.
So it's good to do, plyometrics and jump training. It's good to do sprints, but it's also good to do, heavy squats and kettlebell training and calisthenics and stuff. So
Yeah. Ready for whatever. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man. I wanted to ask you too about like I know you say you had stopped drinking a while back, 600 days ago. And but what about like the eating and your nutrition? Has that changed since then? How has it changed? Like what's different?
Yeah, it's definitely changed. Like, because I mean, when you drink, you just want to fucking order out or go eat and eat like crazy. I
Got it,
still eat
carne asada
fast food,
fries and
man.
all
I
that.
still eat yeah, I still eat like pretty bad, but now I pay attention to it a little bit more,
Yeah.
and it's a process, like I'll get better as I go. Especially now that I'm trying to cut down those last 20, 15 pounds of body fat and get to where I want to be physique wise.
Yeah.
So I got, it's just depending on your goals is how, you know, deep into you have to get that nutrition. You can go on and just eat whole foods and 90% of the time eat that way and then sprinkle in some pizza even if you want here and there. But if you want to have abs and you want to get down to those 15% and lower body fats, then you gotta
You're gonna have
count
to
macros and
sacrifice.
actually, yeah. But just depending on your goals, man. And right now, I am about to get into that and really dial in.
Yeah, yeah, me too. That's the season I'm in.
Yeah, right.
And I think like once you've been like for people that may be listening that maybe they haven't even started, the path, but
Hmm.
they have, like I said, that vision of themselves in their head. Cause I think everybody has that at some point. They're like, I think I
You
can,
have to.
and
Yeah.
it just, I think sometimes we want like that instant gratification and shit,
Yeah.
it hurts. It all hurts, man. And you have to keep doing it over and
It's
over.
momentum, bro. Momentum and consistency.
There you go.
There's things that are said over and over, and you hear it from so many different people, but it doesn't. You don't really like grasp it and actually like apply it. But once you do, you're like, oh, that's why it's said, or that's why everyone's saying it. But you have to have momentum. You have to stack on days and weeks and months, and
Yeah.
then you'll start seeing those differences, and then it fires you up to do even more. You're like, oh man, I already did this. I know I feel better. I know I look better, and
Right.
then you can continue on that. But it is momentum, it's consistency, and it's discipline.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because I was thinking just like as far as you've come, from where you were before, like now you could even take your foot off the gas a little bit. And because you've come so far, it's like I don't want to fall off too far because I
Yeah,
want to keep going forward.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's easier to kind of, pick it up and do it and keep doing it after you take a break for a little bit. But in the beginning, you just gotta be you just gotta be consistent and disciplined, like you were saying. You
Yeah,
know?
100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think has made the biggest difference in your training, in like your fighting? Has it been that consistency, or was it the drink, like stopping drinking?
Stopping drinking is hands down the biggest change because nothing else at all would have been possible if I was still drinking. So um yeah, not even close. Whatever second is so far away from what stopping drinking has done because it's actually like allowed me to do anything else. I wouldn't have had, any kind of consistency strung together. I wouldn't have had, you know, any kind of rest, any recovery,
Yeah.
the calorie intake is so much higher, the energy levels, the want to do anything,
Yeah.
so it is that.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you're drawn to fighting, when you like fighting, it's hard to drink and fight. I mean,
Oh
I
yeah.
can't imagine. Like, I have a couple of drinks now. I'm in, I'm early 40. I'm 41. It takes me a couple of days, even after drinking a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like you were saying earlier, like fighting after drinking is, dude, that's next
Yeah.
level.
Well,
That is,
it was everything. Like I was never sober,
yeah,
like ever.
yeah, dude. That's yeah. And I mean, so what has like the people around you? I'm sure they've noticed the change. Like how has that been?
Oh yeah, man. It's super cool. Super cool the amount of, support that I've had.
Yeah,
Mm, immediate family, close friends, but then also the whole Streetbeefs community has been like behind me, crazy, crazy behind me about
hmm.
through this whole process, and then so it's just all kinds of layers, man, from people closest to me to people I've never met before
Yeah,
on social media, that will hit me up with messages like, hey man, like that's super inspiring. Like I want to do that. I need help. And I
yeah,
always have my DMs open to those people, bro. Like if anybody ever wants to know how to get started or wants help or advice or just to talk about how they um needing to stop or their addictions, whatever, I'm like, dude, hit me up. We'll talk about it. I'll work with a plan with you and see what you can do. That thing that fires me up and that like makes me want to keep on going and tell more as many people as I can, bro. If I can get a few people, because I've already, you know, talked to a few people that are going through their sobriety now because of my story
yeah.
that I'm like, man, all of you guys hit me up, man. Let's do this.
Yeah, man, that's big time. There I was watching one of your videos yesterday, and I read that in one of the posts, and I was like, dude, that is like a lot of times people don't even realize what they're doing. Like you're fighting for yourself, but inspiring so many people at the same time. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, man.
that's pretty awesome, man. Yeah, like that has to feel pretty good, you know? And yeah, that's something definitely to be proud of. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
Yeah, man. But yeah, we're definitely look up Tiny Tank's fights. You got the fights with Bushido Zed, with the Maniac that we talked about, the Saint. We didn't get to that
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
but yeah, that was another good fight. But yeah,
yep.
make sure you guys check out Tiny Tank. Also on Instagram, give that out one more time.
Tiny Tank _
Tiny Tank _ and then anything else that you guys that you want to plug that you want people to follow.
No, man. Anybody, if you guys are in Vegas, follow me and join me for those Sunday workouts. That's open to everybody. Follow Street Beefs West Coast, of course. There's a lot of good stuff going on right there, man. If you're a fighter, or even if you're not, follow us. And I guess for anybody that wants to stop drinking or wants to make a change in your life, definitely do it. Find out what you're made of. Find
Yeah.
out what you're made of. Try hard things and go for it, yo.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Follow Tiny Tank on Instagram, Tiny Tank _ Man, I appreciate you doing this. We'll have to do this again, and we'll have to meet in person sometime at one of the events.
Yeah, of course, brother.
All right, brother. Thank you guys for being with us. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.